Before we begin, thank you very much to the retired Repaint Addict for joining the Patreon campaign. The Repaint Addict has been here a long, long time. Sad to see them retired from being a Repaint Addict, but hey, we have to move on every now and then. But thank you for coming back to the Patreon. Thank you for supporting the channel. Really, really do appreciate it. Hey, guess what? This is one just for me. Because I know my movie review stuff comes very rarely, and it's only when it's one of my big nerd things that I want to talk about. And I'm just doing it to get off my chest and get all my thoughts out. And oh my god, oh my god. But also because this movie needs a little bit of help, okay? So, last night I went to the premiere of Super Mario Galaxy, or the Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's being correct on the name, just so everyone is certain that I actually remember the name of the movie. So, to give you a heads up here, I'm going to give you my overall view of how things are, and then I'm going to keep it as spoiler free as I can. I'm going to keep it as completely spoiler free because it is to bury the lead a little bit. I do think it's a movie worth going to. And then we're going to get into spoilers afterwards. You're just going to have random slides going through just so there's something visual happening on the screen. Obviously, I don't have perfect examples because I can't film in the movie theater. So I'm going to switch over to slides that are a little bit meatier and a little bit more spoilery later. But for now, let's get this out of the way immediately. The professional critic reviews for this movie so far are in the dumpster. I don't see any critic who really like this movie. The worst one I saw, and I won't even dignify it by mentioning his name, it's just a newspaper critic who claimed that this movie was worse than AI. And let's get things right. Nothing is worse than generated AI. But also, if you genuinely look at this movie and hold that opinion, you don't deserve to have your critique heard anymore. You have genuinely, completely lost the plot to say anything positive of AI just to say something bad of this movie. Okay? It's moronic to me. So yeah, that was the dumbest review I saw. That was the absolute dumbest review I saw. But no, let's be honest here. And I apologize to anyone I'm about to offend by making this statement. But this is an Illumination movie. Okay, these are the Minions people. They make their entire income off of making movies that will run about 100 minutes or so. That is just throw cartoon stuff at the screen because of kids with ADHD. That's basically what they make. It's just keep your attention, key jingle movies, right? And then it's Super Mario, a 40-year-old franchise where the main story in all of its games is still a giant turtle has captured a princess and a mushroom-eating Italian plumber has to go save her. That's it. That is what we are working with here. If you went into this movie expecting high cinema and complex storytelling out of that film company and that video game franchise, you're a moron. You are an absolute moron. And I am sorry to anyone who that upsets, but it's true. How do you expect this? How do you expect deep storytelling when you put these ingredients into the pot? Now, don't get me wrong. You can have an animated movie that's appealing to kids, but still tells this really nuanced story that has an examination of the human existence or, modern society in general. You're talking to someone whose favorite movie is Wall-E. It has a lot of those themes to it, but it's still a cute kids movie. But it's Super Mario and Illumination. It's the Minion people. You should be happy there aren't minions in this movie. There kind of are. Kind of are. But no, this is not a movie you go in for a plot. You go in to have a good time. You go in to watch visuals on a screen and have fun with what you are seeing. To complain about this movie because the plot is shallow is to expect complicated, nuanced races at a monster truck show. You know, like, no one ever complained about the quality of a monster truck race. You're there to watch big machines smash stuff. Is it mindless? Yes, but not everything has to be deep thoughts. Not everything has to make you think. In fact, it's 2026. Let me point to things that are giving you good reason to not think about things right now. It's not a bad thing. So, that little rant out of the way, I apologize. I apologize for getting this off my chest. The truth is the movie is really good. Because it's doing what it's supposed to do and what it's trying to do very, very well. It's trying to be a well-told version of a Super Mario story, which it is. You know, we just removed that part where Princess Peach is the eternal damsel in distress, and, you know, we have Action Princess who can actually defend herself and be a hero too, which is nothing but a good thing. And we have, you know, a more, you know, developed out Mario, but it's still very much in line with the original story. Like, if you did some, like, weird, like, meta story in this one, trying to put some kind of, like, meaning or, like, deep-seated, like, nuanced story into it, it wouldn't be true to the source material. You know, that's not, you know, that's just basically what it comes down to. If you tried to tell a complex story with Super Mario, it just wouldn't feel right. You know? You know, it's like watching Bugs Bunny explain the stock market. It just feels wrong. So the movie is doing what the movie is supposed to do. It's a lot of Nintendo visuals and a lot of Mario visuals on screen in a really, really good way. If you are a kid, I mean, yeah, it's a very fast-paced movie. So they're never going to get bored. There's always something going on screen. But if you grew up with Nintendo, if you were or are a Nintendo kid, you're going to see so many references that make you smile, like grinning ear to ear because that character showed up. They did the thing. Things like that. They're just going to make you happy if, and only if, your head isn't so far up your own rectum that you can give yourself a colonoscopy. Just, if you go in expecting what you should expect, you're going to have a really good time. It's just a lot of really fun visuals and a fun, if not simple, adventure story. Do I think the movie is flawless? Absolutely not. Coming out of the theater, I was like at a solid 9 out of 10 because I was like super hyped and like just coming down from the movie. But having a night to think about it and go like, you know what? No, I probably bop this down to like an 8 out of 10. Because it does feel a little bit over bloated. There's a lot of extra characters introduced. There's some scenes in there that feel like overly drawn out ways of transitioning from one event to another. So it's not flawless by any stretch of the imagination. There's absolutely other things going on here. But, you know, I do think it is a fun time. I had a lot of fun with it. If you saw the first one, you liked the first one, you're going to like the second one. That's basically what it boils down to. You know, for any critic who complains about, like, well, it doesn't do anything, you know, different from the first movie. I don't want it to. I love the first movie, and I love the second movie, because it's basically doing the same thing, except it's not entirely buried in, like, OG Mario nostalgia. You know, we'll work in some Galaxy. We'll throw in just a little bit of Odyssey. Something for modern Mario fans as well. So that's not a bad thing. Not at all. So those are the general thoughts, plus a rant about how modern movie critics are idiots who are sniffing their own farts. And yeah, I'm kind of at like an 8 out of 10 on the movie overall. So this is the point where I'm going to go into my slides And I'm going to shut those off because I'm going to bring in slide set 2, which is way too big for some reason. And now we are going to discuss spoiler stuff. So, get out now if you don't want to be spoiled. Okay. So, for starters, I guess Rosalina is a great place to start as far as just examining. In the trailer, she comes across similar to Peach, where she's just like incredibly overpowered compared to how she normally is. But in this case, like they actually do tone her down. She's not like super powerful. She does play damsel in distress for the movie. And yeah, like she's fine. Like we don't get too much screen time with her, but she's cool in her own right. And like Peach, she can hold herself down in a fight. It's just a matter of, she can get overwhelmed or, distractions can stop her. So, typical stuff. Typical stuff for like a very powerful like hero character. The big twist with Rosalina in the movie is the fact that her and Peach are sisters. So we do find out what happened, like where Peach came from. They're children born of Stardust, which is a little bit weird, but it's interesting to see that they actually gave Peach like a definitive origin in these movies. In the video games, they don't think too much about it. She's just the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom. Not too much to think about. But in movies, you do have to kind of work some kind of narrative in. So an origin story, even for a character who's not normally known for one, isn't a bad thing. I don't mind the whole like sister aspect. I mean, not only does it kind of explain, because the one thing I was always weird about with Rosalina is like, we're introducing another blonde princess into this franchise. This kind of explains why. Probably not going to be canonical to the games, but at least as far as like the Illumination movies, I don't mind it. I think it's a bit of I think it's a good angle. It adds to Peach a little bit. So that part I don't mind. That part was good. The overall story, like I do think that's where it gets bloated a little bit. I'm always one of those with like, after you go to space, where else do you go? Because like that's when you start thinking about time travel. Like that's what the Sonic movies did. Sonic movies went to space, and now it seems like Sonic 4 is going to be about time travel, which is going to make everyone's head hurt because everyone hates time travel stories because they make a head hurt. But I do overall, I do think the galaxy stuff was well delivered. We got to jump up to a few different planets here. Nothing crazy. We didn't explore the entirety of, Mario Galaxy. But it was enough just to like make it feel like, yeah, these were the games that we were adapting, which is interesting. I mean, we kind of just covered like mostly Mario 1 and 3 in the first movie. I kind of thought they would go with Mario World and we'd be getting like dinosaurs in here, and no. But it worked out pretty well. It is a fun story, and like seeing the characters flying through space, brief as it was, is really, really cool. Like they don't do nearly as much as the star flying as you would expect. Does let you introduce a ton of Lumas. The Lumas are super, super cute, so I can't really argue that. Bowser Jr. as a main villain actually works pretty well. He seems far more effective than his father. And it feels like it's because, like a typical father-son dynamic, the son is far more apt on technology. So he actually works really well with machinery, more so than his dad does. So that plays into things too. He is a relatively effective villain. And the fight scenes with him are really good, so we give credit there. Bowser's side of it is weird. So he's in his like little diminutive state for the first third of the movie, because he's a prisoner and he got stuck with a blue mushroom, the ones that turn you smaller than normal small in Mario. So seeing that was hilarious. But Bowser's also like trying to like turn over a new leaf. Still kind of hates Mario, but he's starting to like these two. So for a while in the movie, you get this like back and forth of like his newfound friendships versus like loyalty to his son, who seems to be accomplishing all of his dreams and goals. I'm like, it's not a bad approach, but also like there's this hint where it's like, wait, we could make Bowser a good guy. This would be fun. I would like them to have like some like big like enemy to fight together, but no, Bowser comes back into his own, and then he gets to be the villain again. There's this fantastic scene when they're in the final approach to like Bowser Jr.'s little stronghold. So it's a war world he's basically made. You get to see this huge area full of traps, and they cut to a 2D perspective on Bowser Jr.'s screen as he controls what's going on. And it's a nod to Mario Maker / all of those next to impossible Mario ROM hacks that people love to show off how good they are. It's that. So it's a hysterical scene, like just to like see like that homaged. And we have to bring it up later because it's another element of the story I need to bring up in order to talk about this a little bit more. But that was fun. Seeing the 2D perspective is fun. They went to 2D perspective for a few things, and I thought it was usually fun every time. But the sequence ends with what you would have expected in the original movie, which is Bowser confronting Mario on a bridge over a pit of lava, and axes are involved. It was a nice little, like, that's the moment I mentioned earlier where, like, just me and the friend I was talking to, where I was with for the movie, where we both, like, pointed at the screen and go, they are doing the thing! They're doing the thing! I know that thing, and they're doing it! It was a fun little setup. It was a fun little addition to the movie. I liked it a lot. There's a lot of those things in the movie. If you're watching close enough, you'll hear familiar sound effects, of course, but, like, there's a Bowser pinata based on his 8-bit sprite. There's a few, like, sprite-based gags in here. You'll hear, like, Jump Up Superstar at one point. What was it? What are the other good ones? They're sprinkled all throughout the movie. And it's just like, if you know your Mario, you know your Nintendo, it just, like, makes you, like, super happy. That kind of goes for the cameo stuff as well. Because there are a bunch of other Nintendo cameos. Like, they did a poster showing off Pikmin being in this movie. And for all the surprised people were to find out Pikmin were in the movie, it's just a cameo. They're in a landing pad, with a bunch of different spaceships. One spaceship lands, there's Pikmin in it, and then it turns out to be really small, and they all walk off. Which is a funny gag. The spaceport is also where we get my favorite gag, which is Rob the robot, who's running the reception desk. And Rob has to indicate things behind him. If you ever saw the Rob robot from the original NES toys, because it was a toy. They marketed it as a toy back then. He has little motor arms. It's a super slow toy because it's motorized toy gimmicks in the mid-'80s. So he's that slow when he's trying to indicate to, like, a map behind him. And the joke shouldn't land every time, but it lands every time. And it's just fun to see Rob around. I want a Rob toy now. I really want a Rob toy now. Mr. Game & Watch shows up too. That was a completely random discovery. That was fun. I was talking about Bowser, wasn't I? Completely went off track. Yeah, he went full villain mode again, and then, like, dropped into the lava and came up as Dry Bowser. So I assume by the next, it's super menacing, by the way. Super menacing to have Bowser Jr. with his paint powers, and then Bowser as Dry Bowser at the same time. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they fix that for movie 3, because they're going to have to make him normal Bowser again. He always turns normal again in the games anyway. He never stays undead. Oh, but yeah, if we're talking about, go back to the cameos, we're talking about, like, other characters popping in. I think we have to talk Fox McCloud. Fox feels a little forced and a little cringe when he's giving his backstory, but the backstory has great animation, so we forgive it. But they are trying to market him as just, like, this super cool character And he is kind of a cool character, maybe pouring it on a little bit thick. But he is there. The Star Fox music is there. The R-Wing is there. It gets into a fight with Bowser Jr.'s spaceship, and it looks super cool. And it makes me want a good Star Fox game for once. A good Star Fox game that's not just a remake of the original Star Fox game, please. I'm so done with those. But no, really, really, really good story. Like I feel like his inclusion works because they have to have someone dealing with space stuff, and that's the resident space flyer of Nintendo. Outside like Samus, but Samus is probably maybe a little bit too serious for this franchise right now. Also, they are really kind of pushing this whole like anthropomorphic characters, like keeping the humans to a minimum. I'm not sure how you work in like supermodel body Samus Aran in a world where every human so far has just been like soft, round, kind of short person. But that's it's beside the point. It's beside the point. I do like Fox's inclusion. Like I said, it makes sense in the context of the movie. But the others are kind of like, the others do kind of get lost. So like, this is where I knock down points a little bit, because we do have a few too many characters going on. Like, we introduce Yoshi, and Yoshi doesn't do much in the plot outside of just adding, like, basically a very smart pet dog with a special power set of his own. So he gets his little hero moments, he gets his scenes, but for the most part, Yoshi is not really, like, helping the plot. I know I just talked about, like, if you're going in expecting a great plot, you're dumb, but if you're going to incorporate an element, I do kind of want it to get used outside of just like, here's some neat scenes. Yoshi's story mostly consists of Toad being like really salty that, a dinosaur just showed up and is part of the group now. And okay, we're just okay with this. So he's just really bitter that Yoshi is taking the number 3 spot in the team. I mean, it's more funny than anything. It's more funny than anything, and that's what it's there for. I mentioned that this movie kind of has minions. I meant that 2 ways. One, there's worker robots that you see at one point in the movie that are minion colored, but also Yoshi kind of acts in place of one of the minions. A non-speaking character is mostly just acting goofy, but like can do some heroic stuff. More action based than a minion. Not the irritation level that a minion intentionally goes for, but somewhat the same purpose is being served. So that's the only thing with Yoshi. And Luigi too. Luigi just kind of feels like second banana. Like, he kind of feels the same way Toad feels with Peach, in that it's mostly someone there so Peach has someone to talk to. And then occasionally has their own little scene. With Luigi, it's someone for Mario to talk to in their side of the story, and mostly consists of like Luigi poking at Mario to ask the princess out, because that's the whole story. So Nintendo is very like flippant about doing like an actual romance story, because kids game, they don't want to risk that, I guess. But they played that up somewhat in the movie. All we get is a kiss on the cheek at the end. We don't get like confessions or asking out or anything like that. But there's definitely a connection there. During the Mario Maker section of the fight scene, they're basically battle flirting, like where they end up joining hands a lot. A lot of the traps make them like press together, and they're kind of staring at each other awkwardly over it. So you get that kind of development. But everything else, it's very soft. It's a very soft love story. So they don't really go too far with it. They don't make too big of a focus on it. It's just something you're aware of, that like, at the very least, like, Mario's in love with a princess. And I think you can even infer that in the video game. So that part Nintendo's fine with. I don't think they're going to let it go any farther than that. Like, I'd be shocked if Mario 3, like, even approaches any kind of romance story for those two. I think they've got another one in mind. During one of those scenes where Luigi's poking at Mario to ask Peach out, he says, like, okay, She would be lucky to have you, she'd be lucky to have you as a boyfriend. And then you can ask her if she has a friend for me. And as soon as she says that, I go, that's a loaded line. That is that is Chekhov's throwaway line. I know you're going to pick that up. And sure enough, post-credit scene, it's Daisy. So, sorry, end of the workday. I've been talking all day. So basically, we've taken this like habit now of we're going to introduce. It's just a vibe right now to introduce someone's love interest in the post-credit. We did with Sonic and Amy in Sonic 3, and now it's Mario's turn, so we're going to introduce that. So then Sonic 4 is going to end with Rouge showing up for Knuckles, and we're just going to go on this chain, right? We're just going to keep this theme going. Please, a year from now, come back here and tell me if I was right when I said the teaser at the end of Sonic 4 is going to be Rouge, and I will laugh hysterically at it. But, for the most part, where was I? We're getting Daisy in the next movie, which I don't know what they're going to do for her. Like, Princess Peach is already like the action princess now, which is Daisy's whole thing, because she's the tomboy princess. I'm assuming it's going to be like a super strength gimmick. That's like the most adaptation. If you're going to make all the if it's going to be She-Ra rules and all the princesses have magic powers, that's where I'm guessing that goes. That's maybe it. As far as like, what else I have written down? Mid-credit sequence, the nihilistic Luma comes back, which is both fun and terrifying at the same time. There's a lot of little things I could talk about, but I don't want to make this video go any longer than it's already gone. Oh my god, because now I'm just gushing. Not even reviewing the movie, I'm gushing. Let me do something that justifies this being a review of the movie, and I'll talk about like I'll end it off by like acknowledging the overbloat of the movie. So there are elements of it that working naturally to the story, and I think that's fine. We have an entire section in a casino for Princess and Toad, and all of that is done so they can find Rosalina, and that all makes sense, okay? It's not the first time I've seen like heroes go over to like an evil like mob organized location, just kick stuff around until they get answers. But it's Wart from Mario 2. And it's Wart's crew, because the whole place is loaded with Shy Guys and Sniffets and Ninja, and Birdo is his enforcer, and like, it's fun to see, like we take him out with a turnip. And it's fun to see, because I do love Mario 2. Like, I found that out, like, I just end up being way more connected to Mario 2 than Mario 1. I didn't even realize that myself until recently. So I loved seeing that. I love seeing acknowledgement of Wart, because I kind of just assume they just forget about him forever, and that's fine. But everything else does feel crammed in. We have an entire planet devoted to like the B planet from Mario Galaxy, but we're only there for a few minutes, which is where like we get to see like Bowser's like friendship with the plumbers actually be genuine, because he's willing to like serve a prison sentence for them so that they can go off and find Peach. But it really only exists. It's an entire scene that only exists in order to transition Bowser from the Team Mario side to the Bowser Jr. side of the story. And I feel like you could have done that in a more efficient way. I don't think you need an entire extra planet just for that. Same with like, there's a whole section on a dinosaur planet. And considering Fox crashed on a dinosaur planet and we didn't get Crystal, is kind of messed up. That would have been such a fun nod. But it really is just there to throw in like a scene for Yoshi and Toad to bond a little bit and do something silly. That silly thing being like, the Marios got turned into babies. And again, it's a fun nod to it's a fun nod of Yoshi having to save the babies. It's a fun nod to Super Mario World 2. They're babies because they got shot with a Super Scope 6. Which is hysterical to me, because They are the first things to ever be successfully shot by a Super Scope 6. You had to be there. But it's just like a fun sequence just for Yoshi to get to do things. But it does feel like filler. It does feel like fluff in the movie. You know, so it's just scenes to rattle keys, you know? So like I said, and the movie does feel like a little bit overbloated because of things like that. You know, there is a little bit too much going on sometimes. But then again, there's awesome things like Princess wiping out a few hundred ninja on her own like it's Dynasty Warriors. All the power-ups. I was so happy like they didn't use just like the standard power-ups. You see a fire flower and a mushroom, but like they throw in like Cloud Luigi is a thing, Drill Mario is a thing, Penguin Toad is a thing. They threw some fun ones in. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I like seeing all that overall. So like they mixed it up a lot, but maybe a little bit too much, because it's left me wondering, like, where do you go from here? Like, who else do you use as a villain? Because now, like, Bowser Jr. owes his life to Mario, and Bowser probably still, like, remembers the plumbers being nice to him. So, do we, like, team up against someone else? But who else is left? Mario franchise isn't exactly known for having bigger villains than Bowser. I mean, like, you bring in Wario, what would Wario do? Really? Compared to everything else, you know? Like, what else do you... What? Do you bring in Mario? Do you bring in, like, Daisy's villain from Mario Land, who even fewer people know about than Wart? Me and my friend just looked him up yesterday. I can't even remember his name right off the top of my head right now. So yeah, I don't know where you go. Because they threw so much of other Mario games into this movie, I don't know where you go from here. But clearly, like, they've got a plan because they know Daisy's coming in next. Do you base off all the sports games? I don't know. I said it before, like, once you go to space, like, the next step is to go to time because you've left yourself nowhere else to go. But I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know if that's necessarily true in this case. We'll have to see. So... this has gone on longer than I wanted it to. I was hoping for getting like a 20-minute video out, hopefully, to keep my thoughts to a minimum. Of course I can't keep my thoughts to a minimum. I'm me. Even as I close out this video, I'm gonna go like, why didn't I talk about this? But I got the bulk of what I wanted to go on about out of the way. All the thoughts are out of my head now, and I'm really just sitting here just in defense of the movie because it's getting critically panned because a bunch of critics don't know what they're talking about. It's a movie made for kids and Nintendo kids. It's a good movie doing what it's supposed to be doing in a very good way. It has issues, not enough to deter me from enjoying it. So, go sit down with your Yoshi popcorn bucket if it's not sold out, and just enjoy some entertainment, because that's what it is. It's just fun. Just go and have fun. Don't look for super critical stuff. Don't look for anything deep. Just go and have fun. Okay? So, that is going to be it for me. So, if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Everyone I know who has seen it has loved it, because they're not idiots. That's too far. I'm still harping on the critics. That's not about you. There's legitimate reasons not to like the movie. Let's not get that. Okay, so I don't want to get that twisted. Okay, but I'm going to end it off here. So let me know what you thought in the comment section below. And as always, I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.